My 24F husband, 31M, asked for a paternity test. It came back positive, but our relationship was never the same. My 24F husband, 31M, and I have 3 children. Our sons look exactly like him, dark skin and dark eyes and hair, but our daughter doesn't. She looks exactly like my great-grandparents, really pale, blonde and green-eyed, but apparently he didn't think it was possible that our daughter could look like my great-grandparents, and from the moment he saw her he told me he wanted a paternity test. At first I refused because I felt it was humiliating and because I didn't think it was necessary, because I never cheated on him and I hoped he would trust me, but he didn't, and for the first 2 months of our daughter's life he made my life hell. He didn't want to hold her even if she cried desperately while I was doing something else. He never woke up at night to help me with her. He never helped me with anything, and that hurt me so much because with our boys he was completely different. He helped me all the time with absolutely everything, and he was always there for me after giving birth, but this time he left me alone and it was the worst experience of my life. I have no family here, and his entire family from the moment they saw my daughter turned their backs on me. I don't have any friends here either, so it was just my daughter and me. She is a colicky baby, so it was very difficult for me to do everything alone, and on top of that help with our sons. I decided to do the paternity test because one day his entire family came to our house to celebrate my son's birthday and no one spoke to me, and they didn't want to include my daughter in the photos that my in-laws took of all the grandchildren. So I knew it was stupid to keep waiting for them to come to their senses. Well, the paternity test came back positive and everyone was shocked, and of course they felt guilty for not having believed in me. Everyone apologized and my husband even cried when he held our daughter in his arms for the first time, and I know that his apologies were genuine and that's why I forgave him, but I don't know if I can forgive his family. They treated me really badly and said horrible things about me just a few days after giving birth, and I can't forget their insults or violence. My husband knows that I don't want to see his family, nor do I want them near any of our children, and he told his family, so these last 3 months it has been just the 5 of us, but it doesn't feel as good as I expected. My husband is constantly apologizing and crying every time he holds our daughter, and I am getting tired of this situation. I want us to be happy as we were before. So how can we move on? My husband suggested that we should start couples therapy. How much can therapy help? Excuse me, insults or violence? Insults are bad enough, but WTF? There is no going back. Yeah, we're going to need some context here, because if OP literally means they assaulted her or the daughter, then WTF. Edit, OP clarified further down. Her sister pulled my hair during a fight, a one-sided fight BTW, because I never responded to her insults, and his mother also did it on another occasion. I'm planning to go visit my family in a few months. Holy shit. After she just had the baby? And her husband just let them divorce. I know. I'm so angry for her. It's appalling. Let me add a little gasoline to this dumpster fire. Wouldn't even help take care of the child. Dad here, even if I had overwhelming reason to believe a child wasn't mine, that would not be the fault of the child. It's a baby. Dads be dads, you protect and care for the little one either way. There's some next level insecurity, possibly worse, going on here. My 34M wife, 31F, is having a meltdown over our daughter's personality, and I don't know what to do. What should I do? I'm a 34-year-old guy, and I have a 16-year-old stepdaughter. My wife is 31. In high school, my wife was a popular girl stereotype. Pink, blonde, chunky highlights in her brown hair. This was the mid-late 2000s. She was on the cheerleading team, had lots of friends and boyfriends, was well known and liked. She was basically the living embodiment of the picture-perfect girl from those cheesy 2000s high school movies. And then she got pregnant. When she was 15, she had her daughter. She doesn't know who the father is, and any potential fathers for the girl up and left way back when. Her daughter is recently 16. I never wanted kids, I found them annoying. But I fell in love with my wife and got married when she was 20 and I was 23 after dating for 2 years. We hit it off, and I married her and decided to suck it up around the kid. I never planned to absolutely love being a dad to her specifically. Kids still annoy me, but my daughter, stepdaughter technically, was different. She was quiet, nerdy even at a young age. I married her mother when she was 5, and we clicked right away. We went on daddy-daughter dates every weekend. I played dolls with her. Let her paint my nails and do makeup on me. I drove her to and from school in my cop car. We even did daddy-daughter duo costumes for Halloween. Over the past 2 years she's developed a darker dress style. I don't know what the proper subculture of her outfits are, but according to her she's dressing like a horror game protagonist and a Monster High character. Purple is her main color she incorporates into this specific, aesthetic blend, as she calls it. I don't get it, but maybe that's because I'm a man in my 30s, I don't know. She likes ghosts, tarot cards, vampires, zombies, aliens, creepy Victorian dolls. I don't get it, but also I don't care because if it makes her happy so what? She's also an introvert, and prefers to play games on her computer or read fantasy occult novels rather than hang out with other teens her age. She has friends, so I'm not too worried about her being completely withdrawn. I'm just glad I don't have to drive her around since she only has a learner's permit currently. My wife hates this. My wife always wanted a girly girl. Pinks and pastels and flowers and all that. She wants our daughter to get a boyfriend, be more social, be a cheerleader like she was. Which, in itself is valid. I get it, I'm sure most every parent has preferences for what they want their kid to turn out like, and some disappointment when they stray from that fantasy is valid. My wife will constantly takes and hides my daughter's darker room decor. She constantly gets pastel dresses for our daughter, tells her to wipe off her dark eye makeup, tries to set her up on dates with jock types for my daughter's school, and convince her to sign up for both school and summer activities like cheerleading or volleyball. I could have put up with all of that, I really could have. But a few weeks ago I woke up to my wife finally hitting her breaking point. I woke up in the middle of the night to my wife screaming and having what I can confidently describe as a borderline meltdown. She was crying and saying all she ever wanted was a normal daughter who likes pink, and is a cheerleader and has a boyfriend and will give her grandkids. I had to drag her out the hallway after 30 minutes of this. I kept thinking it would stop, but it kept going on and on. My daughter was just staring at this whole thing in the doorway of her room. What caused this meltdown for my wife? My daughter dyed purple over the blonde streaks/highlights my wife had forced her to get in her hair. Which wasn't even breaking a house rule, as my wife and I have both told her she can do whatever she wants with her hair as long as she doesn't stain too many towels. It's been weeks, and my daughter won't talk to her mom. My wife is still up with her antics, but now it's in overdrive. Every day she brings home some type of trendy clothing in pink or pastels and tries to give it to my daughter. My daughter is getting fed up and stays in her room all day, and has confessed to me she can't wait for school to start back up in a few weeks so she can get out the house and be with her friends again. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't want to side with anyone in this situation. I understand my wife wants a daughter who she can relate, and my daughter wants a mom who understands her. I don't know what I can or should do. I need help. I need advice. My mom wanted me to be a version of her when I was a teenager too. She lost it on me and my father didn't protect me either. He defended my mom. 30 years later I have a strained relationship with them both. Protect your kid and go tell your wife to get help with her trauma. Your wife is an adult. Your daughter is not. Do not try to keep the peace. Make sure your daughter knows you support her. Step in when your wife goes off the rails. Insist on therapy. You need to take a side. Not taking a side is being complicit in allowing your wife to make your daughter's life a living hell, and your daughter will be staying far away from you and her mom once she is 18. Your home is no longer a safe place for her. Your wife is not a safe person for her and you are not a safe person for her if you don't do anything. Do the right thing by your daughter. Stand up for her. Daughter might grow out of this phase, but she'll never forget mom being nutty and dad being a massive enabler to the abuse. From the OP. The comments have really slapped some sense into me. I'll admit, I didn't think any of this was that deep. I came on here mostly as a way to vent and get some advice, but now it feels like I've been slapped in the face with reality. I had no idea just how harmful my wife was being to my daughter. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but I really just chalked it up to mother-daughter bickering like all teenagers do. I know I had some pretty nasty fights with my parents as a 16-year-old. I want to get both of them help. I love my wife, and I love my daughter. My 36M wife, 38F, will not let me take a nap. She always wakes me up or does her best to prevent me from falling asleep. What can I do to understand? Hello all. I work for an agricultural company where my weekly hours fluctuate between 60 and 120. While also working on getting a degree. My amazing bride is a homemaker by choice. All of this is okay. My issue comes from on occasion I am exhausted and will start to fall asleep or will purposefully go try to take a nap. Our entire marriage, 11 years, she has woke me up or flat refused to let me fall asleep. I have tried talking to her numerous times and she is unable to articulate what the issue is. Today I got off early after 10 straight 16-hour days. Took her on a lunch date then came home and decided to take a quick nap before working on school. Within minutes of laying down she has come into the room and has begun shaking me, turning on lights, and other obnoxious behavior. How can I articulate to her my need for an occasional nap, and how can I get her to articulate what her apparent unmet needs are so I do not go insane? Because it is at a point where I am feeling disrespected and unappreciated. Sleep deprivation is a kind of torture. Quite frankly, I'm amazed that you haven't snapped and said something very cutting. I turn into a grumpy bear when I don't get enough sleep and she's acting like a toddler. OP replies. I have in the past. It was a point of contention in counseling for years. My reactions to her behavior, that is. I now try to respond and not react. OP, you said you have gone to therapy. After years of therapy, she is still doing this, so you have to stop playing around. You have to tell her, seriously, that you are going to divorce her if she continues to wake you up and stop you from getting proper rest. Does she have life insurance out on you? I'm being serious. An overworked husband, who is also sleep deprived, is an accident waiting to happen. I would consider this a complete desire to harm you, and you should too. If, by chance, it isn't, then you're with a very emotionally immature person and you have to decide if you want the rest of your years to be sleep deprived. What your wife is doing is calculated and very purposeful. It is another form of abuse and, honestly, I'm surprised you have taken it this long. If I were you, I would tell her that your marriage is about to be over if she continues to do this, and then, if she does it again, put her out. Send her home to her parents or wherever, but put her out. Depriving someone of sleep is not a game. It could result in serious injury or death. If your wife won't listen, after years of counseling and you begging and pleading, it is time to stop playing around and get very serious. And, whatever you do, for the love of all that is unholy, please do not have children with her. She is selfish at best. Can you imagine her using her sleep deprivation methods on your child as a form of punishment? I can. Don't do it. Tell her to flat out leave you alone to nap when you need it, or you're thinking of separation as a way of solving her problem of not letting you sleep. It's been 11 years, so this not something innocent. She is doing this on purpose. It's disrespectful and very annoying. You've put up with it for 11 years. What's your next move? OP replies. Thank you for your thoughts. I have considered separation in the past. My inability to break my word and some religious beliefs seem to have me stuck trying to fix a broken car with duct tape. It's a control thing, buddy. No one sleeps unless she sleeps. If she is awake, then you must be too. Yes, it's definitely a control thing. My mom would do that to me when I lived with her. Wouldn't let me ever sleep in on the weekends. I always had to be up when she's up. My father banging dishes or vacuuming early Saturday mornings, I'm up, everybody's up. Now I'm a divorced single dad, and sleeping in when my kids aren't with me is the best treasure ever. I can't imagine doing this to someone working that many hours, let alone someone I love. You need to have a heart-to-heart or go to counseling. OP replies. We have tried counseling and the only thing that changes is seemingly me. Which the counselors say is wrong, but I am not her dad, paraphrasing of course. So what do you do? Sorry to say, it's ultimatum time. You can't live like this. Update from the OP. Update. The Monday after making the post, she picked a fight over the yard not being mowed. After telling her I was done with the way she was behaving. She refused to accept this and said she would never leave. Fast forward to Wednesday night, I come home late again to find 2 vehicles with trailers loaded with everything we owned minus papers and her designer bags. When I walked in the house, she and her family left. Thankfully the landlord had a couch that I could sleep on using my clothes as bedding because they took everything needed to live. Including yanking the curtains and curtain rods off the wall. Thursday night I came home and she was back. This time she tried picking a fight by chasing me around the house and lunging at me. When I told her I would call the sheriff if she did not leave, she began twisting and hitting her forearm, screaming she was gonna hurt herself and tell the sheriffs I hurt her. I left the house and called the sheriffs for help. They were able to provide me a way to leave as her family was on the way back. Since then she has sent 2,000 text messages flipping between wanting to come back and me being the worst man alive. My attorney filed for a petition for divorce this past Friday. She will be served this week and I am anticipating her to go postal. If anything happens, I'll let all you great folks know. Thank every one of you that commented on the original post. It was you who opened my eyes and helped me take the opportunity of her leaving to end this nightmare. Honestly, I'm so relieved for you that the hard part is done. Do not take her back. You may be out of furnishings and curtains, but you have your livelihood and you will no longer have to support her. And you can nap whenever you want. She sounds immature and abusive. I would recommend recording any further interactions with her. I'm really glad the sheriff helped you out of the last situation. If she's willing to hurt herself to frame you, who knows what else she is capable of. Please, update me if anything else should happen. There is no going back. Thankfully my attorney was swift and shrewd. He filed for final hearing at the same time as the petition, so we are set to finish this nightmare quickly. Final, hopefully, he's is set for September 18th. He read the texts and noted how crazy she was and decided this needed to end ASAP. Caught my GF on Bumble. What would you do? 45M 38F. I, 45M, have been dating my GF, 38F, for a little over 3 months. We originally met on Bumble. About a month ago, at her insistence, we both deleted our profiles with her saying, "I don't ever want you to ever see a Bumble notification pop up and lose trust in me." On the 4th of July we took my kids to a water park. Our phones were in our beach bag and she asked me to hand something to her. While digging through the bag, my hand hit her phone and a Bumble notification popped up on her lock screen. I pulled it out and said, "WTF is this?" She turned white and said she had just downloaded it 2 days before to pass the time. I asked her what her profile said and she immediately got defensive. She said it was no big deal and that she would delete it. We had 3 more days on the vacation and I didn't want to leave and ruin it for the kids, so I let it go after we talked about it later that evening. Fast forward a week, a friend of mine texted me screenshots of her profile asking, "Hey, isn't this your girlfriend?" It definitely is still active and everything about it makes her seem like she is actively looking to date. I asked her about it again before work and she got super defensive saying I was snooping. She was running late for work so we had to cut the conversation short, but I am definitely going to end things this evening unless someone convinces me otherwise. What would others do in this situation? Note to address concerns: this was the first real time my kids had spent any significant time with her. And it wasn't a family vacation. She lives in another city and we went and visited her city. She worked part of the time while we were there. Break up immediately. What else would you do? Don't give someone multiple chances to lie to your face and waste your time. Furthermore, as a divorced parent, keep people you've been dating for less than a season of television away from your kids. They shouldn't have to go through all your romantic foibles with you. Oh, P replies. Usually I have a 6-month rule before introducing someone to my kids, but stupidly I broke it this time. When we first met, she already had a job lined up in another town and we only had a couple months before she left. We moved the timeline up pretty quickly before she left town. I'll admit it was a dumb move on my part. I'd walk away. I'll walk so fast to fly. Your children deserve better than that. They deserve a parent who will consistently make decisions for their benefit, not for the benefit of the parent's dating life. Looks like there's a very good reason it didn't work out, so you can take a valuable lesson out of it and do better. She's moving to another town. Yikes, getting her roster lined up for the move. Oh, P replies. I'm going to end it this evening. I want the satisfaction of doing it myself. She only had 1 foot in the door with you. Mislead you. She is still available to others. Next time maybe wait more time before introducing anyone to your children. You are going to make a better choice going forward. I bet there probably were some other red flags you overlooked. Excited for you to find a quality lady. Update: I broke up with her and texted her the screenshots. I told her regardless of if she only had it up a couple days her intentions were clear. That I would not stay with a cheater and I regretted introducing her to the kids. That I refused to be a placeholder for the next guy. Thanks everyone for the posts and backing up what I already knew I needed to do.